I don't think they've played a best of 5 quite yet. In Vetium, you've been a part of some best of 5s. How different is that from a best of 3?
It can get very tiring, especially when the games do go to 5. It can be very taxing mentally, and it's really hard to keep knowing what to do next, especially when it's back and forth. Like one game go to Obey, then Rival, then
Sure.
Obey, then Rival, and then it's down to a best of 1 at the end. And both teams need to put their best foot forward and overcome all of the tiredness and everything they've been thinking for the past 4 games, and just bring everything out onto the table.
All at one moment, basically. And are coaches key in that kind of moment? Because they're not the ones in the middle of the game. They can kind of sit back and say, okay, you know, this is happening. We can see that you're getting a little tired. You need to make sure you're doing this. And also, it takes that burden of picks and bans off your mind, right?
Yeah, a good coach can be the difference between a good and a great team, especially when the coach isn't the one playing the game. They're the one with the fresh mind ready to help you guys with the next game and help you really put your best foot forward, as I said before.
Well, Rival trying to take the words out of Vetium's mouth. Put your best foot forward, I suppose, here in Game 4. Trying to even the series up at 2 apiece. Obey 1 game away from moving on to the finals tomorrow. They'll determine whoever wins this one will face the winner of our next semifinal match. It's going to be Team Eager up against Dignitas. Sure to bring as much excitement as this one has early on here. Obey is in that first pick position. You were right. Rival decides to go for that second pick selection, trying to keep that second pick momentum going.
So far, so good out of Rival, banning away the Osiris from maniaKK, not wanting to deal with that kind of shenanigans. But yet again, Obey are banning away this Fafnir Athena, 2 of the gods that Callus have made a name for himself currently, at least in this LAN.
And it is going to be Obey with the first pick selection here. Cernunnos open. That was their first pick last time, I believe. No, it was Ravana last time they were in the first pick selection. This time, it is going to be the Cern.
It seems like Rival really respects PrettyPriMe and CaptainTwig's Circuit. Mainly CaptainTwig. I don't know if PrettyPriMe will opt for the Morrigan again, but even though iceicebaby really has that strong Circuit, and knowing that Obey could first pick Cernunnos and then Rival could get that Circuit, they want to make sure that Obey isn't going to first pick it.
Vulcan and Bologna, the 2 selections here for Rival. Again, Deathwalker, undefeated both at Gauntlet and here at Masters when playing the Bologna, I do believe. So still trying to keep that record clean for himself on the solo lane warrior. Right now, Obey looking to find their next 2. Ravana is going to be the selection. So they first picked it last time they had that first pick selection. This time they can wait and get the Cernunnos and the Ravana along with this Terra. Really strong first 3 picks here for Obey.
Absolutely. 2 interesting frontliners as well between Ravana and Terra. Brings 2 different aspects into team fights, whereas Ravana's going to try to go dive that backline, bait a bunch of cooldowns, use that overhead kick to get out of danger, or even use that Mystic Rush just to mitigate a lot of that damage. Terra, on the other hand, is going to be peeling for her backline hyper carries between the stun, the root, using that Terra's Blessing just to proc that heal, getting everybody increased mobility, as well as that increased CDR as well.
The Morrigan banned away after Rival select Rom to go up against Cernunnos in lane. That seems to be the favored matchup, at least for Ataraxia on the Rom side. So this time it's going to be vote on the Rom. He did have the HughZ in lane against Cernunnos in game 1, but that went Ataraxia's way pretty heavily. Obey still waiting for their first 2 bans in this second banning phase.
Interesting to note that Rival's banning Morrigan, even though Obey doesn't have the chance of picking Circuit. I think they know that Terra ult, you know, again, even though they don't have any hard carry assassin with a nice ult or kit to really abuse, that Terra ult twice is very, very strong.
Not only that, it's PrettyPriMe, and he wants the Vulcan. So if he's going to go Morrigan, he's going to try to replicate that, take that option away from Wlfy, throw some meatballs back at him, throw some of those long-distance Earth Shatters, and there's going to be a lot of damage because a lot of Team Rival is going to have to be dealing with this Ravana after the Mystic Rush, and whenever you're getting slowed consistently by that god, it makes it so much easier to land that Earth Shatter.
That's a great point. You want to take Vulcan to keep it out of PrettyPriMe's hands, but if he picks the Morrigan, it's kind of like he has a mini Vulcan right there ready for him. Smart bans coming out of Rival, and again they focus out the mid laner for Obey with their second ban here. Ra going to be the 4th one overall for Team Rival. Batz focusing out iceicebaby, the jungler for Team Rival, and Obey has one more choice. Could be looking at another assassin or a guardian in this position right here.
Should be a Susanoo ban. You don't really want to deal with that mobility to engage and easily set up the Vulcan for some of those meatballs. We've seen iceicebaby time in and time out look for that aggressive style whenever given the opportunity to do so. Hasn't really elected to go for some of these global picks, such as the Thor, the Ratatosk, or Thanatos, but instead just doing a good job with these high mobile gods instead.
They leave open the Nemesis. This was banned away last time Obey had the Rava in jungle. This time it's left open because of the Ares ban against Kalas. And so immediately Rival select the Nemesis. There's a good pick here in my mind just because Obey has basically locked themselves in to having 3 frontliners as long as that Robin's going to go into the jungle.
Absolutely. Nemethith is going to do a good job in terms of decreasing the protections whenever Terra goes in, Robin goes in into the backline. So taking some of the defensive options away from Obey.
2 more selections. Obey looking to round out their draft. Could be a jungler if Robin's going to be going to maniaKK in the solo lane, but they definitely need a mid laner at this stage. Robin could go solo, like I mentioned, but it has just been so prevalent in the jungle that we could basically pencil him in there without a whole lot of fear, even with maniaKK not being able to pick his signature Osiris.
So something we saw last game was Ataraxia playing the Rama, and he had an interesting style that you pointed out, Vetium, going for this transcendence into Fatalis, trying to be the support hunter. Do you expect Vote to do the same?
I think he might. I think Vote has a different playstyle than Ataraxia, so they might not go for the exact same builds. But what Ataraxia was doing last game was really good for his team because there was no way he could get caught or gone on by the other team because he would just stay in the back, Rama, and with the Transcendence, he would do so much damage and still have a great impact on the team fight, even though he really wasn't there.
Sobek and Thoth, the final 2 to round out Obey's draft. Sobek going to go to maniaKK in that solo lane most likely. Once more had some good success on it. That's their first win with a Guardian in the solo lane so far this weekend. So Obey says we're just going to stick with it. Thoth, the selection for PrettyPriMe, fits his style. Long-range damage that can make game-changing plays.
Especially with CaptainTwig diving that backline yet again. That's the style that you really need to use when you're playing this Robin inside the jungle. But last pick for Rival, it's going to be the Cabrakan.
As
Interesting.
expected.
Yeah, unexpected Cabrakan support in this scenario here.
Oh, wait, no. Sorry, I was saying as expected because Deathwalker's, well, he's been playing Cabrakan all day.
But it's
But he's got the
Bologna, though.
Bologna.
Yeah, he's got Bologna solo, Cabrakan support. I'm very interested to see how this plays out for Rival.
Tolly, who do you like?
I got to give it to Obey here. You know, I doubted them the last game. This time, I'm going to switch it back up.
All right, Vetium.
I think Obey as well.
All right, we got our analyst saying that this series is going to be Dunzo after this one, but the caster is going to be able to tell you exactly what's going on.
Thank you very much, Analysts. Interesting draft coming out from Team Rival, Hindu.
Yeah, Cabrakan and Bologna on the same squad. So one of them's going support. More than likely it's the Cabrakan here. Gives him a lot of stronger wave clear early on in that duo lane. But maybe we see Kalas start off in the mid lane potentially here, because that would allow for the clear to be in their favor in the mid lane to allow them to pressure that and allow at the same time iceicebaby to start over in the solo lane to get the Bologna even further ahead and punish the Sobek early on.
If it is Cabrakan supported, it represents a shift in playstyle from Kalas. You know, he's been on these Fafnir's, he's been on Geb, and you kind of like to look to get in there suddenly and get the initiation. With the Cabrakan, you're having to run at the enemy. A little bit different, a little bit more control style, a little bit from the Cabrakan with those walls, with those stuns as well. Have to see how it plays out for him, but definitely an unorthodox support pick.
But I think what's been going wrong with Rival this game is Kalas has not been able to get comfortable in these games. They've worked around Kalas so well, Obey, that Rival have to go back to the drawing board and go, okay, if Kalas is having issues here, why don't we mix up his style and try to throw a spanner in the works of Obey by giving him someone like Cabrakan, where it's a different play style. He's another person that's going to be on the front line a little bit more often, and his CC chain is fantastic. He's got some of the best actual CCs in the game for a single character.
All right, pretty standard start for both teams. We see Obey grouping up very heavily on this right-hand side. Rival don't want to give up anything here early. Both the teams, when they've gotten a little bit of an advantage early, that's been enough. They've been able to push that lead into a win.
All been about the objectives. The kills have come into account as well. But even though the kills have been pretty good for either team and been quite balanced in the very early stages, it's always been who got the stop. Look at this on the right-hand side. Rival are proxying. Rival are proxying on the right-hand side right now with Deathwalker, and I believe that's iceicebaby, yeah, alongside him, taking the minions between the Tier 1 and Tier 2, which puts pressure on maniaKK. Do I want to try and defend my my blue buff, which is definitely where Rival's going to go, or even the speed, or do I want to get the farm in the lane?
Obey's going for the right-hand side camps here rather than invaded their own. So this could mean once they hit level 2, they come back around and look to catch out Deathwalker and iceicebaby still in their jungle.
Yeah, and maniaKK has to just surrender the fact that he's not going to be able to hold on to that blue buff. He will lose on the right-hand side. Meanwhile, the pressure for Obey was in the mid lane once again with the tough, as Callus took a lot of damage there, and now Vote is trying to answer back, but needs to watch his position. Everybody in this lane is still level 1.
And there's minions coming as well, so they need to be careful about having aggression. Ataraxia, that Bramble Blast, such strong wave clear, even at level 1.
But once we hit level 2, and it should be, by the looks of it, Obey hitting that first of all, well, a couple more creeps go down, and that'll be the case. And that's where EmilZy will be able to start causing more problems with those dashes, breaking those walls for extra damage, and a little bit of CC if he can find it.
Alrighty, we're seeing Twig and PrettyPriMe again go for an invade. This time on the left-hand side. This isn't something we've seen in the last couple of games, Hindu.
Yeah, I'm surprised that we've seen them go to this side right now, but they're actually going to get invaded on now. Twig's in a bit of an awkward position. Only level 3. Will he have overhead kick after hitting level 3? Yes, he will, but Wlfy's there for the follow-up. Twig's dead.
Yes, slow there from iceicebaby. In jumps Vote. iceicebaby picks up the first kill. Oracle Harpy started now as well. With the Bramble Blast down, that's all of the steal potential gone for Obey. This is the lead that Rival needed to kick off this game.
Definitely, and we talked about the objective control has been the focus of these two teams. Well, Obey got a little bit too far forward for their own good. Only 2 members looking for the invade on red buff when they didn't have pressure in the lanes as much as they would have liked to be able to make that happen. And Twig getting caught at level 3 puts him behind a little bit of that of iceicebaby. And the one thing you don't want to be is behind against a Nemesis.
Yeah, Nemesis, such a late game pick, and I mean, look at this combination from Team Rival: Nemesis and Vulcan, Cabrakan, Rama, all very late game picks, and with a little bit of advantage early. It's got to be scary for Obey Alliance. Back looking towards the solo side though, the last pick that rounds out this Rival comp, Bologna. Arguably Deathwalker's signature god.
It is Deathwalker's god. I mean, he's been playing a lot of Cabrakan this weekend, but during the gauntlet is how good Deathwalker looks on that Bologna. Brought in a build that people hadn't seen before or spoken about too much in the Pro League, with the boots into Vanguard and then straight into the Mystical Mail.
At the same time, though, he is up against what is arguably a counter matchup. Nemesis ulti, though, comes out from iceicebaby, trying to get his solo in ahead here. Good bludgeon, and iceicebaby picks up his second.
Now, we've not spoken about this yet, but one thing that Sobek is very susceptible to is Nemesis.
Yep.
Nemesis can cause so many problems for a Sobek, but I feel like Obey knew that. Obviously, going into this game, they know how good Nemesis can be against Sobek, but I think that could be the case of Obey going, listen, we're going to make sure Iceice will want to camp the right-hand side of the map early, which can allow us to potentially aggress on the left-hand side a little bit more. That's why you saw CaptainTwig go for that red buff where he died for first blood, and that's also why you can see them consistently staying on this left-hand side of the map. Let Nemesis deal with maniaKK. maniaKK's like, listen, I know I am the casualty of war for this squad right now, but we can get leads elsewhere because of it.
And Sobek, even if he's behind, he's still relevant as a Guardian.
Definitely.
So much CC online. He's got anti-heal, that tremendous ultimate as well. The pluck. He doesn't care about being behind. However, with iceicebaby relieving a little bit of pressure in the solo lane for Deathwalker, I was saying before, just as Iceice was getting Sobek's a little bit of a counter matchup to Bologna because he can interrupt that bludgeon.
Yeah, definitely, and that's going to allow him to help out a little bit in this laning phase, but Deathwalker's experienced enough to be able to deal with that and not have to worry too much. He's doing a good job of pressure in the lane now that he's got that pick for himself as well. We'll see what happens, though, as this game goes on, because if maniaKK isn't going to be as tanky, if they continue to focus him, it means there's more responsibility onto Twig and EmilZy to frontline for them and allow maniaKK to sit at the back and peel.
So something we're talking about in a couple of these breaks is Cernunnos and Vulcan. When they've been on the same team, they've been unstoppable. We're looking now, which one is the OP pick of this set, as Vulcan's on Team Rival being played by Wlfy, and Ataraxia's got Cernunnos.
Well, Cernunnos has lost in this set so far, which is the good news. Wlfy on the Vulcan, at least Vulcan hasn't lost in this set when he's actually been available for play. Only 2 times, but you know, it's still 2 times in a row where it's been a contested pick. But here we go again. Gold Fury start. That is a very, very early ultimate from EmilZy.
And to Terra's Blessing, that's such a big signal to Rival as well, that Obey Alliance are looking to get something. maniaKK burns his ultimate as well to clear the way, so that's 2 big ultimates down for Obey Alliance.
Yeah, both teleports are down on the solo lane as well, so they can get involved in this fight even if they wanted to. But this is the benefit of having the Vulcan, and one of the reasons both these teams love to draft it is that the objective control with a Vulcan is fantastic. Not only because of the shoot secure from the Earthshaker, but also the potential of things like this.
Bye-bye EmilZy, he dashes in there, potentially dashing it to death. He's still alive. Somehow now Rival pick up the Gold Fury with the aggression. Good shot there from Prime, but the wall there from Cabrakan is beautiful. Twig can't get out, Prime can't get in, and they pick up the Terra.
So what happens from Rival there is they start the Gold Fury, they force Obey to face check it, and the moment they face check it, they'll burst down the first person through the door, and it's the Terra. The rest of Obey try to collapse a little bit and support him, but it's too little too late. And notice how Rival didn't continue onto the Gold Fury. They were like, nope, we found the win. We invested 3 ultimates. We don't have as much secure anymore, especially when PrettyPriMe could be around that corner, as well as Ataraxia. So we'll take a small win with the kill.
Again, though, it's the same story of the last 2 games. Get a little bit of a lead at first, just push it and push it and push it and push it. And that is what Team Rival is doing at the moment. 1,000 gold lead for them. Experience starting to stack up a little bit as well, particularly on the jungle and solo side, but not too much there at the moment.
iceicebaby, though, is having a fantastic performance here, HughZ. I think he's had a fantastic 2 tournaments in a row. The Gauntlet was great, and now in this match as well, he's having a fantastic series up against Obey. Even though they're behind right now, Iceice is still playing well. He's got 3 kills, all 3 kills in 6 minutes on a Nemesis, and that is a scary thing if you're the opposition.
Nemesis late game is absolutely devastating. That Divine Judgment ultimate, I mean, it takes 50% of your health and half of your protections as well, and then there's a Vulcan ultimate coming over a wall. Even just a simple meatball is enough to put you in the ground.
Even a backfire, like any ability from Vulcan will cause them problems, and then if you actually factor in that Vote could obviously go up in the air with Rama and then pick you up when you do get out of the engagement trying to survive, it causes a lot of problems for one of the targets. So the plan from Rival will be to combine this Nemesis with a quick pick on any of these targets.
Oh, and all those slows you have, guess what's running at you right there? It's a Cabrakan looking to smash your face in.
And talking about the Nemesis a little bit more, I'm expecting to see maybe a Winged Blade or 2 could come out this game to make sure that these slows don't make as much of an impact. Like they used to have the overhead kicking the root coming out from CaptainTwig though, but the pressure for Rival is all focused around the right-hand side jungle. They want the speed, they want the blue. Wlfy's alone though.
Terra's Blessing used, in goes CaptainTwig, Deathwalker over the wall, though stops the aggression. There's the pigs coming out from Ataraxia, and EmilZy gets the first pick, but iceicebaby gets a return on Ataraxia. Kalas in some trouble here, can't get his ultimate down. Fantastic interrupt there from maniaKK, and PrettyPriMe finishes him off with the final judgment.
Final judgment was huge there for PrettyPriMe to make sure they got that, but it was iceicebaby that got a kill again, and they have to keep an eye on him because iceicebaby is getting a little bit out of control. Yes, Obey did find a very good win there on the disengage from Rival, and this is where Rival are the weakest. We said this in the last couple of games here, is that when they disengage, 1 or 2 of them do go the wrong route, and by wrong route, I mean the isolated route, and this allows Obey to punish them for it.
Yeah, we've seen that from a few teams this weekend. Just the discipline when disengaging needs to be perfect, and we saw that in the Energy Obey set, the quarterfinal just prior to this one, and that was the biggest part of that set, I feel, was how disciplined both of those teams were. I mean, they scrim against each other. They should know that any overextension, any overcommitment, any sloppy play will be punished like that.
And look at what Obey did there as well. Ataraxia came all the way over to that fight on that right-hand side, which allowed Vote to get some farm. With Ataraxia dying there, it gives Vote a chance to catch back up a little bit here on this left-hand side and continue to apply pressure and stay relevant for this next fight.
Rivals sticking around the gold here a little bit. Wlfy plucked in there. Good wall there from Kalas, but Wlfy's dead pretty much. maniaKK's here. Nothing he can do. Good shot over the wall from Wlfy, but maniaKK's going to pick him up anyway. A nice little pick there from Obey. And CaptainTwig's in a little bit of trouble from Deathwalker, but he's going to be able to disengage. Overall, fantastic play there from Obey. And once again, though,
isolated.
It's Wlfy being caught out, isolated, as you say.
You get them isolated and alone, and it's a free pick every single time. This is what Obey are looking for. They're going to try and skirmish with you. They want to use the Terra to just allow themselves to get the extra mobility and make Rival make a decision every single time. If you have to keep making these decisions of which route do I go, and if you keep making the wrong ones, you're going to keep getting punished. Rival's biggest problem is definitely about their disengaging.
We said Wlfy's got a tremendous Vulcan, but we really haven't seen the impact of it this game, whereas Prime's had more of an impact on this Thoth. maniaKK takes some damage there, but the Terra's Blessing is going to keep him all right. iceicebaby still sticking around this right-hand side. As you mentioned, there's a little bit of Obey's game plan. Let the Nemesis stick around the right-hand side, influence that side. But, I mean, iceicebaby, while he's been doing that, he's been over on the left-hand side as well. He's been all around the map.
But we talked about maniaKK being in solo 2v1 here, maybe seeing iceicebaby over here a lot of the time because of the matchup is so good in favor of Nemesis. But EmilZy's making a very good impact with that ultimate. That's the difference here, is EmilZy's able to influence that fight without having to turn up there to make sure maniaKK doesn't end up dying too much. He doesn't get poked down all the time. He can still stay in this lane and survive a little bit longer.
PrettyPriMe with this pretty much fully stacked Doom Orb is doing so much damage to Wlfy, forcing him out of the lane yet again. A level behind is the mid laner for Team Rival, and behind in gold as well. Side lanes, though, we haven't seen too much of an impact from Ataraxia and Vote. We saw a really good Wild Hunt ultimate out of Ataraxia a couple team fights ago. Vote, though, has been pretty quiet.
It worked out well for the team for Ataraxia to rotate to the fight, but it didn't work out for him individually. So he's back to farming for him again. He's still got a bit of a lead here up against Vote. Level, in fact, at the moment with how these minions are looking right now. I think the telling point will be around the next Gold Fury, but especially with the Portal Demon now spawning. If a team can get both the Gold Fury and the Portal Demon, it's where the lead will come from. And the way these two have been playing this set, once they've got a lead, it doesn't go away.
Yeah, pretty much nothing in terms of the lead in this one. Gold a little bit ahead his team rival. Deathwalker caught out a little bit here, flipped into the tower, rooted in place by CaptainTwig, but he dashes out really nicely. Here comes iceicebaby. Obey need to be careful. That's the overhead kick on from CaptainTwig, and recognizing that immediately, iceicebaby jumps in, picks up his 5th kill of the game.
First time we see Twig rotate to the right-hand side, looking to make a pick. What happens? Deathwalker turns it on his head, and his good buddy, Nemesis, is waiting in the wings to make sure they clean it up.
Deathwalker's so good at those counters. Remember yesterday against Luminosity, 1v3, dives in 180, Eagles rally, and picks up a kill before going down himself. Tremendous play from Deathwalker all throughout this series as well. Last game, he was really taken out of it, and that was a big down point for rival. iceicebaby, a little bit of poke here. There's a Terra's Blessing coming out of EmilZy. maniaK's here as well.
Final Judgment coming through. Is he going to fire it? No, he did actually. iceicebaby got hit. I thought it was aimed for Deathwalker really there, but he catching iceicebaby will force him back for now. It's not enough to stop, though, the fact that the speed buff was forced onto Obey's EmilZy there. He had to take it away to make sure it wasn't stolen in the jungle.
Vote NBK also took away the Oracle Harpies as well. It's a little bit of farm in his pocket as well as all-important vision around this Gold Fury.
Definitely, the vision around the Gold Fury is so important for both these two teams, recognizing that that is a possibility of a big gold swing as well. The right-hand side, different story, however. There's only that one ward down from rival around that portal demon, as I can see. And that, actually, no, it's not even a portal, it's not even a ward, it's actually a turret that's down around this portal demon. And if everybody keeps paying attention to the Gold Fury, just make sure that no one's trying to sneak that portal demon.
I like the Pestilence coming out of here of Deathwalker. I mean, this is kind of his standard build. Wouldn't be surprised to see a Mystical Mail next. Usually he likes to get that one first, but I like it this early against a Terra, against a Sobek that can heal himself up. Even the Ravana heals himself up.
Exactly, but it's also against three magical gods this game. The Terra's doing a lot of swinging of damage. You actually saw how much we've seen this Terra chunking as the game's gone on. And EmilZy's not scared to just keep running back. They really like the Terra pick overall. They're not worried about not having a Fafnir for themselves. They like utilizing the amount of CC chain that Terra brings, as well as the sustain that generally goes unnoticed. And that's one of the extra reasons why the Pestilence will come in handy as this game goes on.
Kalas has played really well on this Cabrakan in this game for my mind. His walls to just block off paths for Obey to get into the fights have been tremendous. I think they've been fight changing as well.
Yeah, they really have, and that's kind of what his job will be in these engagements for Kalas, is not as much as a frontline go in and kill somebody like we've seen Deathwalker play in this Cabrakan. Instead, he'll be there for getting the peel off to make sure his team can escape, or walling off the reinforcements from Obey coming through to support the fights.
And when you look at Obey, no one can really get over a wall other than CaptainTwig, and he has to use his ultimate for that.
Look at this on the right side, though. That Portal Demon started up as I expected. You've got to keep an eye on that now, because there's so much focus around the Gold Fury. People will forget about Portal Demon. maniaKK well aware of that, though, and now they know there's a sentry ward down to that portal demon as well. So it will force a couple of members here back for Obey to go and get some sentries to start contesting this portal demon.
If you just look at the wards in the map, they're so focused around the center of the map, not so much in each other's jungles, not even really looking for buff timers or anything like that, but just centered around the Gold Fury, portal demon, and a little bit the mid camps.
So it's not out of the hands of Obey right now. Yes, Rival have a lead, and yes, all 5 of those kills are onto iceicebaby, who is level 12 right now. But what can he do with this lead? If the rest of his damage dealers get taken out, Nemesis can't win this game alone. She can do a damn good job at doing that, but she is going to need some support along the way. And as it stands right now, we've not seen too much so far out of Vote, who's been farming away in this duo lane, and Wlfy in the mid lane has been relatively shut down, but that Spirit of Desolation and Magi's Boots are now online.
Now it's Obey's turn to try and pull this portal demon. There is a ward, so Rival do know this is going on, but the damage coming out of Obey is quite tremendous indeed. They might have some secure. Here comes a shot over the wall from Wlfy. Earthshaker comes down, and here's Kalas and the rest of the Rival squad. Everyone's a little piggy, but Rivals say, we still want to fight here. Actually, they need to back away as Twig's going in. Kalas in some trouble here. There's the Piranha Onslaught. maniaKK picks him up.
And that was just a late play from Rival to get away. Wlfy was looking for the kill on EmilZy, and instead he gets picked up himself. That was an awkward play from Rival. They didn't disengage after the fight. They hung around a little bit too long. Kalas gets picked. Left-hand side, there is bonuses for Rival again, but once more, maniaKK was waiting with a teleport, knowing that with a rotation out of Ataraxia, Vote was going to be able to pressure towers.
The Gold Fury started up now by the Obey Alliance as well. Only Vote here on the left-hand side of this map. He does have his ultimate to contest it, but it's not the best steal in the world. iceicebaby, one more shot on Prime from Do It. Prime actually went ahead of his wall there, so he didn't have the distance. Gold Fury goes the way of Obey, and now we're starting to see a swing, Hindu.
Yeah, it's a swing, but it's actually towards even right now, because there was a gold lead in favor of Rival before this. Experience is the bigger issue here. It's about 2k swing in favor of Obey. That experience will help them out a little bit longer and getting these abilities up. It's not as impactful as you think, though. This is still an even game as it stands. This is just kind of neutralized the start that Rival had.
Last game we saw Ataraxia rotate a lot on this Rama, get some nice snipes down in these team fights, deal some damage. We are not seeing the same thing from Vote in this game. Vote's been sitting in this lane, farming up, because he knows that late game is going to be a bit of a hyper carry.
Sure.
However, it is costing his team right now with Ataraxia's tremendous rotations.
But you need a late game on your team, and that's one thing they're going to have to rely on as this game goes on, is for Vote to get to that point. So him continue to stay out of these fights and continue to farm up is fine. He's not going for the Transcendence this time round, which is what we saw from Ataraxia. He was looking for the ult to get involved in those fights, as you heard Vetium say on the desk. So all he's got to do is sit back, get the penetration build online, and late game he is that mega hyper carry that can influence a fight, but he's still going to deal with that little man on your screen right there.
Big thing right now with this experience difference is EmilZy is level 12. He's got his second relic online, which is the shell. Kalas still level 11. Ataraxia caught out. There's the Nemesis ultimate. Here's Kalas right in his face. Aegis has come out as well. Wild Hunt as well. Ataraxia is still alive, but not for long. Actually, CaptainTwig saves his life. And the meditation is huge. Prime firing shots over the wall. Here comes Wlfy trying to find the shots. He finds Prime, but Ataraxia is out. Ataraxia lives. The same can't be said for Vote.
Now it's a different story. Prime's now under pressure, but they got their boy out of the danger zone. Twig, though, he's hanging around, and meditation comes through. The judgment from Prime takes out Baby, and Callus will follow suit as well. 3 kills the way of the mid laner, PrettyPriMe, and another step closer to Obey, making the finals.
Baited like a school of fish were Rival, just going all in on Ataraxia, and that Wild Hunt, that saved him. It turned everyone into a pig. They couldn't get any damage, and they were so confident in themselves, like, he's 1 HP, there's no way he gets out. Tremendous rotation there from Obey to save the life of their Hunter, and now they just get so much off the back of that. They're getting the gold, they're getting the experience. Deathwalker, though, he's going to do what his team can't and clean up the kill on Ataraxia.
You what? Again? Deathwalker keeps 2v1 and 3v1 people. Don't give him Bologna, it's that simple.
Don't stand close together if you're facing a Bologna, because she will just Eagles rally onto your face, and you will both be stunned, and then he'll just hit you with a hammer.
Yeah, Deathwalker's never afraid of fight, but it's not going to be enough to bring Rival back into it just yet. You can see it's a 2k gold lead now for Obey. Deathwalker's in a bit of problems here, because CaptainTwig's on his way. I believe that was a sprint pop from him, but it won't get him away from the damage that came out from Twig and maniaKK, securing them a kill and shutting down Deathwalker.
And look at this, look at the lead building back up in the favor of Obey Alliance. Nearly 5,000 experience, 2,800 gold. Rivals still have a chance in this one. iceicebaby still, he's not in the lead anymore compared to CaptainTwig, but he's still very relevant in this game.
Definitely.
Wlfy and Vote, once they start to get rolling as well, that's when it becomes a little bit of a problem, but thus far, Prime 5-0-2.
And keep an eye on iceicebaby, level 14 now, did go for the Sunder as well to match the Sunder of CaptainTwig in this game. But that Sunder is basically going to be a second ultimate for the Nemesis. Yep. So not only can he just pop it on one target, he could double up and for the same target if he wants to really make sure someone evaporates very quickly in this game.
Kalas chasing down EmilZy here, but Prime's there to save the life of his support player. I mean, EmilZy didn't look too much in trouble, but with the amount of damage that Kalas can put out, even as a very tanky Cabrakan, you don't want to be taking any risks.
It's really funny because that Gold Fury and the Portal Demon for me wasn't enough of a game change for Rival to be behind in this game. It still felt very even, but I think that play onto Ataraxia where he was 3v1 and escaped was a real turning point in this game, that now Obey are feeling confident. They've got momentum on the side and they're looking to pressure the mid lane.
Twig right at the back, the Divine Judgment comes down onto the Ravana, but Wlfy's in trouble. maniaKK under the tower looking for the Vulcan. EmilZy's here as well. Wlfy with the shots. He's not going to find anyone, but he does force Prime away from the tower for a second. But Obey still get the tier 1 tower. CaptainTwig roots in Vote. There's 3 little piggies there, and Prime puts on a side of bacon and takes down Vote.
Next on the list would be Deathwalker, who eagles while he's in place. In goes Twig to the backline though. Wlfy's out of more. That was the last meatball we'll see out of him. Back to the kitchen with you, Sunshine. maniaKK's one hit from Dev, and iceice will pick it up. He might even be able to get Prime here, but Prime turns it again.
This Thoth is going off right now for Obey Alliance. I said last game I would have liked to send Wlfy on this Thoth a little bit rather than Poseidon, and PrettyPriMe is showing why Thoth is such a strong pick right now.
7-0-3. PrettyPriMe has had a fantastic series this series. If they win this game off this one, Prime is definitely MVP for this set for me.
Yep.
He's had a fantastic performance on the Morrigan a couple of games. Even though they lost one of these, I still think his overall performance was probably the best in the team. Not barring, though, how well EmilZy's been playing, even though he's been Terra every game.
I think everyone on Obey's been playing tremendously. You know, CaptainTwig hasn't had the best slash lines, but he's just been doing what his team needs to do.
Sure.
Obey with that Portal Demon now are being able to take this fire giant. Let's ride along with them and listen in what their plans are.
13-8, nice.
We go
Right,
right,
get to gold, get to gold.
We go,
Ah.
we
Go to
should
silver.
get gold now, we should get gold now.
Okay, okay.
Just so they don't get it.
Okay.
It's 20.
I'm going.
I can stay with the. Wanna push maybe? I can.
Nah,
I
nah,
can
nah. Nem
We
can
need
they can kill
everyone.
100 now.
Yeah, they're done it.
Should I
They're
TP
not on
behind?
it yet. They're not
I'm gonna
on it
TP
yet.
behind. I'm gonna TP
They're
behind.
coming
I'm
now.
gonna TP behind.
They're grouped around it.
I'm on Ram.
Chill, guys, chill.
Yeah, go. Careful, we're not all
Ned,
there.
Ned is not here.
I'm not here, guys. Be really careful.
Blown it behind.
Dead me.
Them all down. Them all down.
Hold on, hold on.
Below the back. Hold the back.
We're not all there,
Bullet
dude.
one.
I'm here now. I'm here now.
Ned is here now.
Them no dash. Them no
Yeah,
dash.
go back, go back.
Back goals, back goals, back goals, guys.
Go.
No dash.
Okay, go.
Doesn't matter if we
Okay,
kill
Neil,
them.
chill.
You gotta really chill, dude.
Don't
Like,
fight when Ned is not here. Like, we can fight.
Left. We're going
that's the way
straight
it
left or
is.
back?
Yeah. We should probably get backdoor it and then back, right?
Yeah.
You could hear that whole fight. Ataraxia saying, "Chill, chill, chill. I'm not there. I'm not
Oh,
there."
yeah.
But they still won.
They did win the fight, but I don't think Rival realized that Cernunnos wasn't with them either. But that engagement was one of those things where Obey are very strong right now. Confidence, you heard maniaKK teleported in going, hello!
Yeah.
Because they realized there's not much that Rival could do against a Fire Giant squad here. But Obey in the back of their mind, I know Prime and Ataraxia with the lead callers there going, hey, just be a little bit more careful. Like, we don't want to make a mistake here. Yes, we have the lead. Yes, this is looking good for us right now. But they could still come back into it if we make silly mistakes like taking 4v5 fights.
Rival, no one on that team other than Wlfy realized that maniaKK was teleporting in. Then you could see Wlfy with the Vulcan desperately trying to kill the walls before the Sobek came in and just destroyed him. The rest of his team were too focused on the gold degree, too focused on everything else. And I think this is where the experience from Obey is really starting to tell. This is Rival's first best of 5 series. This is the first Game 4 they've ever been in. And these kind of tense situations, everything's on the line here, something they're not used to.
Definitely. But one thing in that team fight that we saw as we were watching, listening, riding along with the comms of Obey there, those final judgments from Prime today have just shredded the backline of Rival. Multiple times he's just hit one person, but that one person has been taken completely out of the fight going, well, I have to play so far back now that there's no way I can get involved in terms of damage. And if I do try and hang around for damage, they're going to pick me up at the end of the fight anyway.
So as we mentioned before, all the kills for Team Rival are on iceicebaby, and this has meant that Wlfy and Vote have they haven't been able to establish a lead even when they were ahead, but
They're going
now...
to try and defend this? This is a little bit risky. Maybe it's because they saw maniaKK on the left-hand side. They want to try and engage this one, and here they go. They were all the way in.
Vulcan ult comes out, doesn't hit anyone.
Missed.
EmilZy had the Divine Judgment on him, but he's going to be A-OK. Wild Hunt comes out, hits three little piggies for CaptainTwig to chase down, and he's going to blow their house down as well. Right-hand side, tier 2 tower falls down. Vote in the air, just trying to deal some damage. Can he hit Ataraxia for the final kill? He can't. CaptainTwig's hanging around behind him. Here's maniaKK as well. Deathwalker and Kalas taking the back line on, but the front line of Obey, they're looking to end this game all by themselves. Ataraxia's got a double. Wlfy's dead. Deicide, Obey Alliance. There's the F6. There's the surrender.
F6.
Obey Alliance move on to the grand finals.
Crazy end to the game there, but it was a fantastic team fight from Rival. I want to say, Rival's job there, they recognized maniaKK wasn't with them. And I like the call for them to go for that fight, because if you just sit there and just keep getting wailed away on, you're going to lose the game anyway. Take a 4v5, try and force it. If Wlfy would have found that Earthshaker, that could have been a different story in that fight. He just put it a little bit too deep, and it turned back on its head.
I think the target prioritization was a little bit off as well. They went all in on EmilZy there. A little bit too tanky at that stage, I think. I think maybe they've gone for the Ravana, made him force his overhead kick and then try to, find the kill on him there. Might be a little bit better because CaptainTwig was building a little bit more damagey, but with EmilZy, I mean, you saw the Nemesis ultimate did nothing and there was no follow-up damage off the back.
And then once again, it was a 4v5 that, because when maniaKK turned up at the end, he's like, oh, we're just cleaning up crew already? This is all good. Obey, make it to the finals, though, so we'll find out who they face off later today.
All right, Analysts, tell us what you saw in that game as Obey moves on to the grand finals.
I saw Obey, and specifically PrettyPriMe, just crush it that game. That was a great game. Probably the closest in terms of the early stage of the game, going back and forth. Rival got off to a great start there, and whenever iceicebaby's playing Nemesis and he's 5-0 that early on, that was a scary proposition. Obey really made a comeback there.
Not only was iceicebaby 5-0, but he was 100% of Rival's kills at that point in the game. So he was doing a great job being all over the map. Obey Alliance didn't really have a response. It was CaptainTwig that was the unfortunate early victim of one of those kills, and he got back into the game off of the great control from top, the damage, and not only that, the overcommitment from Rival onto Ataraxia.
That's the thing. PrettyPriMe, he was the one who got the triple kill in this engagement, but this all starts because Ataraxia lives forever, and he never ended up dying in this play either. He gets ganked on this left-hand side. He doesn't even have a tier 1 tower here, Vetium. How does he survive?
It's just because of that Aegis, and then next you'll see his ult. turns them into pigs. They don't beat, so they can't finish him off. And then his whole team comes in to peel for him. So you see Kalas chasing, but he doesn't actually finish Ataraxia off because all of his abilities are down. And then his whole team rushes in to finish everyone off.
Yeah, PrettyPriMe ends up with a triple here in this engagement. These final judgments were phenomenal, but also the stuns off of Evade and Punish are so critical to finding success on this character.
Absolutely, covers a lot of distance, and the stun effect is just huge. Finding that nice little triple kill, surviving his Ataraxia, and PrettyPriMe, the beneficiary of that triple.
PrettyPriMe was all over the place on that Thoth, really set Obey in motion in order to move themselves on to the grand finals tomorrow. This is the first time a team with first pick won. What was the difference in this game?
I think it was just the fact that they couldn't control after the mid game. After that one team fight on the left-hand side, things fell apart really quickly for Rival. The damage was all across the board here. PrettyPriMe was a lot of the damage. Ataraxia did a decent job as well on that Cernunnos.
All over the place for the mid laner on Obey. Really did a great job. Vetium, I gotta give you some shout outs. You were undefeated on the calls in this set. You predicted every single one right.
No L's today.
No L's today.
Still NA sucks though. Maybe Eager will be able to redeem us.
That's what we're gonna find out in the next set. But before we go to that, we've got PrettyPriMe standing by with Hughes for an interview.
First of all, Prime, congratulations on taking that set. Pretty intense, you know, that EU on EU battle.
Yeah, it was intense. It was a rough set.
All right, so that Thoth game there at the end, so many great final judgments and everything like that. What was kind of the thought process of that pick?
They banned Morrigan. I think I played Morrigan earlier in the second game. It wasn't really that good of a pick. I just wanted it. And then it was Thoth is so greedy, but I don't know, like you do so much work after a while, so you just gotta stall it out really.
So, Rival, how much do you scrim these guys? How familiar are you guys with this team? Did they surprise you at all in this set?
Not really. Like they mostly play normal stuff, except for Deathwalker that plays some kind of janky stuff from time to time. But we do scrim them a fair share. Not anything leading us to this land though, because we're confident that we're gonna face them in the second round.
So early in that fourth game, iceicebaby getting 4 kills unanswered against you guys. Was there any nerves? What were the comms like?
In the last game?
Yeah.
I don't even remember it, so I was probably not that nervous. Like I don't know. Most games just blur out for me kind of when I'm done, you know. But I think everybody was kind of calm. We had to like surrender everything on the solo side of the map just because the start went so bad. But you know, we just gotta be calm and not give them too much. Just let them hold their lead, not extend it.
All right, so looking to the next set, it's going to be Dignitas up against Team Eager. Is there either of those teams you prefer to face tomorrow? And other than that, who do you think is actually going to win?
I would probably prefer to face Dig just because it's an EU finals, and I'm pretty certain Dig will take it just because NA hasn't been looking too good. They had some rough.
Some more spicy EU banter coming out. Before we let you go, Prime, any shout-outs you'd like to give?
I want to give a shout out to my team, a shout out to Obey, my family back home, and my girlfriend back home.
All right, thank you very much, Prime, for joining us again. Congratulations. We'll see you tomorrow in the final. For now, back to the analyst desk where Aggro's got 2 very special guests.